fourth ending?
No.
There is.
And no one seems to know what happened to this footage of the fourth ending of Clue. If only there was a way we could tell you, the Clue fans, what happened in that fourth ending. Oh, there's a way. The fourth ending is included in the Clue storybook. Story time. Clue, the fourth ending. Here we go. I'll tell you who did it, said Wadsworth. We have two murderers on our hands, Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum, working together. Just a minute, said the professor. Wadsworth, listen to someone else for a change. The professor looked at the guests. You've been listening to him all evening. Now listen to me. The killer is Wadsworth. He knew about the secret passages. And now the gun's missing, right? Everyone empty out your pockets and purses. Whoever has the gun shot the singing telegram girl. Wadsworth suddenly drew out the gun. Very clever, Professor. Professor Plum looked grave. Wadsworth killed all of them. He brought us here. He knew all about us. He knew Mr. Body and the victims, and he had the key to the cupboard with the weapons. But how could he have killed the cook? Asked Colonel Mustard. He was with us when Yvette was screaming. I thought that's when the cook was killed. Wadsworth smiled. I killed her earlier, while Mr. Body was lying on the floor in the study. It took no time. I used the secret passage to the kitchen. Well, said Mrs. White huffily, the police will be here any minute. No, replied Wadsworth. Nobody's called them. The guests gasped. Why did you do this? Squeaked Mrs. White. Because, answered the mad butler, my life has been spent in a struggle for perfection. I tried to be the perfect husband, but my wife killed herself. I tried to be the perfect butler, but I killed my employer. So, I resolved that at least it would be the perfect murder. But it's no fun without an audience. Then you didn't commit the perfect murder, said the professor. You have 6 witnesses to your confession. Ha, not for long, laughed Wadsworth. Soon there will be 12 bodies. The champagne you drank was poisoned. You'll die if you don't get the antidote in 3 hours, and I'm leaving now. Ha 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 ha! He ran around the house, ripping all the phones out of the walls. You can't escape, and you can't call for help. In the midst of Wadsworth's frenzy, the doorbell rang. Don't move, any of you, said Wadsworth, suddenly serious. He dashed to the door. There stood the elderly salesman. Wadsworth aimed the gun at him. Scram, you stupid old... The man lunged at Wadsworth and the gun went off. Several policemen appeared and burst into the house. Help, screamed the guests. We've been poisoned. But the cops were not sympathetic. Hands up, one ordered, backing the guests against the wall and frisking them. The other cops searched the house and found the 6 dead bodies. Meanwhile, the elderly man had dragged Wadsworth into the hall and was holding him in a vice-like grip. Who are you? Asked Wadsworth. FBI, replied the man. Who's responsible for these murders? He is, cried the guests, pointing at Wadsworth. It's true, said Wadsworth. It was the perfect murder. Let me show you how I did it. The old man relaxed his grip on Wadsworth, and Wadsworth fled out of the front door, slammed it, took a key from his pocket, and locked everyone inside. Then he raced down the front steps, jumped into the nearest police car, and zoomed off. But he hadn't gone far when... Grrr. 3 police dogs lunged at Wadsworth from the back seat. As the guests watched from the windows of the house, the car and Wadsworth veered off the driveway and crashed to a halt. The end.